I was just checking out, and the build is ready. So staging is up with the latest.
Sweet.
All right. Seems like it's working. Yeah, you can start with the updates if you want,
Go ahead, Mateo.
please.
So guys, James did an amazing job integrating MetaMask within the app. So that's ready in staging for you to test. Um, so there was a couple of questions that we were discussing yesterday, and it's one that while I was merging this new way of authenticating, uh, James was thinking that we could just, if there was no MetaMask, try and log in with using Taurus. But if the browser had MetaMask, you go already and just log in using that. But I thought maybe sometimes people will show around the application and such, and not everybody has access to MetaMask anytime. So why don't we just give the user the option, just like OneHive does within their faucet, and you choose if you want to log in with MetaMask or Taurus in our case. What they do is that you choose between Portis and MetaMask. So I didn't do any design, but so far, if you check staging right now, you can pick between MetaMask and Taurus, and yeah, the login is working properly so far until with that. What's missing for now for the MVP maybe is all the verifications regarding if you uploaded a profile picture or your name when you log in with MetaMask, because that information we don't have. In Taurus, that's by default. So yeah, I think that's, unless anything, any error happens or something breaks, I think that's the most important thing that I will be doing tomorrow mainly.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of testing that did not get done for this, I would say. And like a lot of the refactoring was pretty deep in there. So there could be all kinds of issues that we don't know about yet, I would say. So generally speaking, like I'm super happy with where we're at, like in terms of like we have this core functionality in there. I mean, we're called Giveth, like we don't want to limit how people can give, right? I mean, crypto people want to use MetaMask, right? So I think at a minimum, like having this is super great. Um, I think there's probably, I feel like I don't really know what we're missing yet because, for example, Matteo, we discussed this thing whereby, like as you just mentioned there, like a person should not be able to add a project unless they have updated their profile first, right? So there's some kind of like not an activated status, but like I mean, we probably want to have a word for this. I would say it's kind of similar to the proving thing we did before, but I think it's different. So maybe it's a different name. But like um, it's something about the user having like clarified who they are in order for them to be allowed to create a project, right? And I think, if correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have this flow in place at the moment, right? We need to do some kind of check to see if the person has updated their status, their profile, etc., before we allow them to create a project, right?
Yeah, I think someone made an issue about this, that maybe there will be need some kind of filtering for projects and users before they go live in the application, but I'm not sure how is that going to happen in the MVP, and that's related with what you're mentioning, because everyone can be a user and be a meme or be a troll or put whatever they want, and we don't
Yeah,
have that kind of verification.
yeah. I think Marco had the strongest opinion about this, and that he went as far as saying that for him it's a showstopper for MVP, basically. And I, I personally am prepared to accept that because his opinion was so strong that like I'm not going to argue about it. because my opinion is not that strong, I would say. So it seems to me like that is something we should get in place. It makes sense for a lot of reasons. So the question is, do we do that? Do we allow a person to create a project at all, or do we redirect them to the profile page when they click create project? Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels for me like we should do it like that, rather than let them create the project and only display it once they have done that. Because for me personally, I would rather, I don't want to go through the process of putting in a project only to know that I can't have it live until something happens or something. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit annoying. So I would suggest that, like, we redirect them to the profile editing page or something when they click on create project. What do you think about that?
I like that. I wonder if we can include it just in the creation flow. So if it's the first time you're creating a project, if it's just a part of that same nice Typeformy flow where you input your information. And as far as like it being part of MVP, I agree. I think it's an important feature before we do the big public launch and ask people and then start inviting people to come donate to projects. Yeah. But I do think that we don't have to hold back the soft launch and wait to start onboarding projects. For that.
Cool. Okay. Cool. Go ahead.
I also want to just step back to the MetaMask functionality, if that's okay, and talk about that.
Sure, please.
So right now, the way it is, if you go to staging.giveth.io and you click sign in, now there's we have to choose between MetaMask and Taurus. I think that probably makes sense to crypto savvy users, but I'm not sure if it's an improvement on what we had before. I think when we had talked about this, we had talked about automatically detecting if a user had MetaMask already installed. And if that was the case, then we would just default to MetaMask. And I really liked that idea because if a user already has MetaMask, we don't need to push them to go set up Taurus. But for a brand new user who's not crypto savvy, it's kind of confusing. If you click that and you see MetaMask and Taurus, you really have no idea which one to select.
I would say,
go ahead.
I kind of agree with you actually, but I would just say that this will not happen unless they have got MetaMask installed, the plugin.
Oh, okay.
Plugin. So if the way it works right now, if you deactivate your MetaMask or if you use a different browser, and you click on sign in, then it opens the Taurus prompt as we have it now. And it's only if you don't have
James, in my branch, in what is currently staging, I blocked that. I just put it manually. So that's not going to happen. I commented that part that you're mentioning because I wanted to make it clear, but it's really easy to change back.
Yeah. Okay. So right now, if there is no MetaMask installed, then it always does the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I would. Okay. I'm glad you brought this up, Willie, because we spoke about this, Matteo, and I don't think we really came to an understanding with each other over text. So I would say I would like to explain what I think is the best way of doing it, and it is that if MetaMask is not installed, then clicking on sign in opens Taurus email dialog with OAuth as before, right? With Gmail and Facebook and all that stuff. And if MetaMask is plugged in, is turned on and is there, what I think is the best, or at least what I would like at this time, is that we would trigger onboard.js, basically. So if there is some kind of MetaMask in there, then we take them to be crypto savvy and we show them an onboard or something like this. I think that's the best idea I have right now. And yeah.
I really like that too.
I like it as well, but I only have a problem with that, with the approach of auto-detecting whatever provider is already, because we cannot block every way that we currently have for logging in. So if we are offering Taurus, there must be a way to access Taurus directly, even though you have MetaMask installed. So,
but why?
Because we cannot block the user for that. I mean, let's say you have MetaMask,
but it's not blocked because inside of onboard.js there can be Taurus, right?
No, but yeah, but I mean the current stage right now. If we do it like you say within on board, that problem is not important. That will be solved.
Yeah,
But
okay.
in the
I
current
get you.
stage,
Yeah.
at the auto detect, I didn't like it, and that's why I just left the options because let's say Danny he wants to show to some people in Costa Rica that it's not MetaMask. They don't know about it, but she has her account within MetaMask. Uh, the application wouldn't show the Torus way to get in, so that's not nice.
Yeah. Okay. I understand you now. I still like. I mean, in this case, I would say.
I
Okay,
like
I
the idea of the
understand.
secondary option, like some design patterns say this is the main option and this is the secondary that you don't usually have to see, but you have it just in
Okay.
case.
So how about this then? Like, okay, let's imagine that we cannot integrate onboard JS because it's too complicated. Like, we don't know how complicated that is right now. So what I believe you would be happy with, and which I would be happy with also, is like if there's no MetaMask installed, we show them the Taurus login as usual, as we did before. I mean, and if there is MetaMask installed, then we show them this option, this menu that you created, for example, like that shows MetaMask
Yeah,
or Taurus. Okay,
that's cooler. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I would be happy-ish enough with that. Like, I still think on board would be nicer,
No,
probably.
on board. I agree with that. But let's say for in the next 30 minutes I can do it, but I'm not sure how long will it take to make on board for the old providers they have, Portis,
Yeah.
etc.
I mean, honestly, like you also, I could argue that like, why do we care about like who uses Taurus? Like, I think not many people. And like, I think like what's cool about Taurus is like the email OAuth functionality that you can make an account with Reddit or whatever, and that like most people who have got MetaMask installed probably don't want to use it. I mean, that's something I could argue to
The
play
the
devil's
thing
advocate.
the thing
Hi.
about Taurus is not about who already has Taurus, but someone who doesn't have any idea about wallets and all of blockchain Ethereum related. So Taurus is the way they have for grabbing an account already and just start doing uh, Web3 stuff. That's the
Yeah,
only reason.
yeah, that's my logic. Yeah. Anyway, like I'm open to most things. That's kind of what I think about it. What do you guys think?
Hello.
Hey, Danny.
So as somebody who has MetaMask and also was experimenting with the Taurus, I was looking at my account in Taurus and expecting that if I logged in like one way with Google, for example, that I would also be able to link my other accounts. Like if I come back and I log in with Twitter, but it created a new account for me if I clicked a different social media. And I haven't like gone back and like walked my way through that, but I found it incredibly challenging that I couldn't find a way to link or synchronize my various accounts to one Taurus account. It was not if it does work, it was not intuitive to me. And yeah, I do have MetaMask, but most of the people I show don't. So it was confusing to me. Should I be advising them to use MetaMask or Taurus? Is there a way that they sync, like whichever? How can I make me be me no matter how I log in? I couldn't figure that out.
That's interesting feedback, but it's the same pretty much with all OAuth. Like if you were to go to Twitter or you go to Facebook and you were to sign in with your Google account and then sign in with some other account, like there's no way for Facebook to know that, hey, Danny at Gmail is the same as Danny on Discord, you know? Because
yeah, I had the same problem with Medium. I have like 4 different accounts with Medium because depending what social media I was already logged into, when I would go to Medium, it would grab what I already had logged in and create multiple accounts for me or not recognize me. So I realize it's probably not just unique to us, but I just would love to know how do we do it better than what's out there before.
Yeah.
We should definitely put it in the FAQ and also recommend something maybe. So I don't know.
It's not unreasonable, like what you're suggesting. I mean, this is something that we did discuss, Matteo and I, because initially, actually, that's what I was going to try to do, but it just turned out that like the way we had written the code, like it was a lot easier to just, as soon as someone logs in with a different wallet, to create a new account for them, basically. So as it stands right now, like it's kind of one wallet address, one account, right? And this, so for example, like if you in MetaMask, you can have a lot of different addresses, right? And when you change one like this, it will actually log you out and log you in with the new account that you select. You know what I mean? Like in MetaMask, you can have your list of I'm just looking for the accounts. Yeah, so you have a list of accounts, right? Like, and when you select a different account, like it logs you out and logs you into that new account. But it's not impossible for us to like to say, okay, one user can have more than one account. Like there could be many accounts under a user, and whenever they change on MetaMask, or whether they switch to Taurus or whatever, all we do is we add that wallet address to the user's account, like to the user's thing in Giveth. So a user can have many different accounts or whatever. So that is definitely possible. I personally like that also because I have a lot of different wallets in MetaMask that I use for different things. And I would love to have all of those wallets under one sort of Giveth account, ideally, right? But it's definitely a lot more complexity we're introducing to the dApp, I would say. With the way we discussed it, it's like, I mean, imagine on your My Donations page, for example, like we would need to pull in all of these different wallet addresses and stuff, and we just don't have it done right now. I think there's probably complexity we haven't thought of even, but it's not impossible to do that. So if it's like, if there's a strong consensus that this would be very valuable, like we could definitely consider this kind of functionality in the future, I would say.
I definitely agree with Kai that we need to have some really clear things about this in the fact that say, here's our roadmap. This is where we're going, but right now, here's how it is. Because what we're launching with is not the ideal scenario, and I would really want users to know that it's temporary and we're still building what they need.
Yeah.
I meant more in a really practical fashion. So we are using Taurus. This is what Taurus is. This is how you should use it. And we can give a link to whatever you said. Just like as a general, like the FAQ should be very concise and about functionality and the pitfalls of using stuff.
Sure, and then have a link to the roadmap that shows future features.
Yeah, I like the ideas, but I mean, I don't think that we're launching with something that's not really ideal. I think what we're launching with is pretty awesome compared to like all other dApps that you can log into. Most of them just give you a bunch of wallet options, and you have to pick a wallet and figure it all out on your own. And not only is this a constraint of Taurus, but this is just a constraint of any application that offers multiple different OAuth providers. It's like we said, we all run into this issue. I do like the idea of like, what can we do simply to overcome this? And I agree with James, like if we hear a lot of feedback from users that they're running into this, then we can consider maybe giving users the ability to connect to other accounts. But that's not necessarily the issue here, is that users like want to be able to connect to a bunch of different accounts. And the way that Taurus works is that you will get a different address for every different OAuth provider you use. You will get a different wallet. And I think that's okay. Maybe like, I like the idea of having an FAQ about this, and something we could do to help like prevent users from getting confused if we see this as an issue. When a user logs in for the first time, we could just show a pop-up that says, hey, welcome to Giveth. Are you here to start a project or donate? Just give them some clear call to actions there. And then we might have like a tertiary, like small button that says like, have you already signed in before, or is this not your first time, or something like that? And that could take users to maybe the FAQ that explains, hey, we use Taurus to give you a bunch of different options to log in. If you log in with another provider, you will get a brand new wallet, something like that. But I don't think it's. I don't think it's a severe issue. I think it's a common issue across all apps that use SSO. It doesn't mean we should remove SSO or anything like that.
So Willie, what you just said, I think is super, super valuable as it relates to that other issue that you commented on that I put in this morning. Like if right when people arrive, it gives you at least a little bit of information that says, what are you here? You know, how can we help you? What are you here for? You know, how do you want to create your change? To donate to a project or create a project? See the list of projects. And like, I feel like those three options should be really clear when you first arrive on the landing page. Are you here to view the projects and donate? Are you here to create a new project? It's not, I think some sort of easy tutorial pop-ups as what to do first, next, and then linking to the facts is kind of essential for launch.
Yeah, I like that too. That's like good UX. It's just an improvement. If it's your first time logging in, it'd be nice to give you a little pop-up holding your hand. And we could do something similar if it's a repeat login. We could be like view your projects, or create a new project or something like that.
Okay, I like that too. So when the user first logs in, they get like some kind of informational pop-up with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, we can put together an issue for that and
Cool.
get some design for Marco.
I also just want to like touch on something else really quickly there. Like when we present the option to view your projects, I would really like people to feel ownership of that project, whether they're a donor or a giver, or I mean, whether they're a giver or a maker. When it says my projects, your projects should be whether you created it or donated to it. And then it would break out from there. Projects I'm funding, projects I own.
Okay.
And that's because of this. That's one of the really unique features that we continually talk about with Giveth, is that everybody's a giver and we're matching up the people with the funds to the people to create a change. So whether you're giving the money or doing the project, you should both feel a part of that same project and community.
Okay. Matteo, that's not how it works now, right? Like, I think my projects are just the ones that people have created.
Yeah, just the one you created, and if you want to see your donations, it's the project that you donated, you have to see the type of donations.
Yeah.
I also want to acknowledge to you guys that I'm going to be sharing feedback today that I've gotten more clear about right now, and I realize it might feel like a change in course in some ways, but I've really been sharing this with a lot of people, including UX designers, and getting a lot of feedback that helped me clarify where I felt discomfort around this.
Awesome. Excited to hear it.
Great. So Danny, the stuff around my projects, like, I mean, this is something that's critical for launching the MVP for you?
Making it really clear when people arrive at the site that they are part of creating change in the world, whether they're donating or making a project, and not creating that instant separation from I'm a donor and here's my donations, or I'm a person doing the project work on the ground. I feel like there's something we can do about that that's better. It doesn't have to be big. It's probably just in languaging and how it presents on the landing page.
Yeah. Okay, that's on the home page you're talking about, not the My Account where we're looking at where Kai is here. Because I'm just looking at it. For me, like, I'm trying to establish, is this something for MVP? If so, what needs to happen? Because we need probably some design work done on this. We need obviously some issues to be created. So I'm just trying to establish this. You can see what Kai's doing now, right? There's the My Projects and My Donations. You're talking about My Projects there.
I also would say we should keep it lean. I think what like these things can take a very long time to like get out of the door, right? I understand what you mean, Dani, but I also think that separation is nice in the eye of, like, oversight. Because that discrimination that you said would then be here. You would then have here the projects you created and then the ones you donated. So I don't think that is the thing to solve it. And I also, like, a recommendation is to talk to Marco about these things, because like, he would be the step in the middle to visualize whatever flows should be changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, like, when we tell I mean, when we talk here about this, I guess like in James and Matteo's brain, there is so much, like if you say something like this, there is like a chain of thoughts that come and yeah, they will tell you the complexity of like if it's easy or not. And this is definitely
so keep this boxed over into UI and on the front, like right now I'm focused on the landing page itself is the feedback that I've been getting and focusing on. So I like how my account says. I also feel like, yeah, I don't want to like change or hijack direction on how that is. I'm just really focused on when you arrive at the landing page, how do people immediately see how they are a part of this?
Cool. That's great. All right. So is there like a task to come out of this then? Will you connect with Marco, or are you going to bring this up in the community call?
Yeah, I'm going to bring it up in the community call, and I created a GitHub issue. Willie commented on it, and I definitely want to go to Marco next, but also just to do a little advice process and see how people feel about it in the community call.
Okay.
Yeah, I also wanted to make an issue about this because it kind of bugged me from the start that we have like here, like the order of things, that I first give an amount, and it's all it makes sense, but when I click donate, like this is I always wonder with blockchain applications what happens when I hit that action button, and I just wanted to ask if I should make that issue. I still feel we need something like 1, 2, 3, I don't know really, or like donate in brackets, like choose your wallet or something like very small, like you will be able to choose a wallet in the next step. I don't know.
Yeah, that's really, really a good idea. Like that donate button should have something under it that says you won't be charged until the next step or something, there's another step after this. I forget how I've seen that. But.
Or we could update the language to like confirm donation, basically, or something like that. Also, something we should do probably, you're making me think of, Kai, is the button shouldn't be activated until there's like a valid amount input. So like, and we could even have the disabled state of the button say like input amount or something, or enter amount.
Yeah, okay, can add that to the issue.
One of the things that I really like is when there's the progress bar across the top that shows the 3 or 4 steps that are going to happen. And when you're on this page, it's clear that you're on step 3 and there's a step 4.
Cool. That's probably something to talk to Marco about then, or like you're talking about having a progress bar on this donate page.
It's definitely a conversation with Marco to figure out which way we want to go with that. Whether it just says you have another step to complete, this will not charge your card yet, or if we want to show a progress bar. That's a Marco one. I can put in an issue for that if you want.
I'm already like making that issue. I started at the beginning of the call, and I'll put your input in here and tag Marco.
Perfect, thank you.
I think the real issue is to be straightforward to what the donation will be. So maybe see in the table what provider is currently connected, and you can change it. So if you are right now using MetaMask, if you click donate, you go directly to MetaMask, so you don't have to make the third stage, because I don't see the point of giving a bar of progress when you just have to put an input of money and just click donate. I mean, it's just one click. But if you want to choose the provider, the Ethereum provider where you are going to make that donation, that can be like an option. If you are logged in using MetaMask, or you have MetaMask installed, that can be put in there as a default. But if you want to choose to Portis or whatever other, that can be optional, and you can have only 1 click, not 2, like I mentioned. Maybe
so,
that's.
I'm just thinking, so the super clear steps are choose your currency and amount, choose your wallet, sign the transaction.
Yeah, and it's actually the amount, because the currency is ETH by default. There you cannot choose any other at the moment. So it's just how much you want to donate and click donate. That's it. After that, you have to choose the provider. But what I am trying to say is, if you have MetaMask installed, the second option would be choose your provider before actually clicking donate. But yeah, that's like an idea. Maybe Marco can be more fit for that.
All right.
Yeah, this is just a note on this too. It'd be great. I'm really excited to get the soft launch MVP out there. We can start testing with people, doing some user testing. Like, I am very curious to just observe some users when they get to this page. We've all seen this so much, but it would be really valuable to see how a user reacts to this and what confuses them. And then we could try out, if they are confused, we could try out some of these ideas that we think could improve the UX.
All right. So should we look at, so by the way, I didn't test because you said not to test, but it looks really amazing right now and feels very good. I tested with MetaMask, very cool. And yeah, I love how it is. So I'm wondering how we feel about soft launch. I mean, putting it on Giveth.io.
I feel like I said at the beginning, I feel super happy with like the core functionality we have in there, and it's definitely in a state where it's great to like test it a lot now, I would say, because when like the changes we're going to make going forward are less like structural or something like this. I have no idea if it's stable enough to call a live product at this point, but I think it's probably good practice for us to put it on Giveth.io anyway. Well, sorry, you're talking about Giveth.io, right? Yeah.
And mainnet.
I think,
so that's the same. Like putting it on main. I mean, it is on mainnet.
Yeah.
So
it's not risky on mainnet, right? It's mostly just about bugs and stuff like this. I mean, I would be happier. I think by tomorrow we'll have like a way better idea of the states of it, I would say. So I think that's definitely a decision I'm not prepared. Like I feel unprepared to take right now. But like in a day, I think we'll have a lot better idea probably.
So
I don't think
basically,
I don't think I can be a thumbs up until I have a conversation with Marco about landing page.
Yes, but be quick. Those things, you know, like they are here for a long time and they have issues for a long time. And yeah, we can definitely always pimp it. And these things should not be blocking us from soft launching because like we said, we are still, there's still some time between this and like more an official announcement and strategic partnership gathering. But I also would say that we go through another period of testing, make those last fixes in UX that we talked about before. And I guess one day won't be enough, but it's good to start right away. So it would be cool to evaluate on Wednesday to maybe soft launch in 1 week. I don't know.
Yeah,
to put it on Wednesday feels a little rushed. Like you said, we should really test this. There should be no errors.
Yeah, I mean, like I think for me, like we should be. I would be happier to go live when we are no longer making decisions about whether we use onboard.js or not. That's less important, but certainly this like speed bump around, you know, checking if a user has filled out their profile. If not, then sending them to the profile page, and potentially this like when they've logged in, they get a pop-up. Like, I mean, when we stop putting functionality in and we're doing more like bug fixing and stuff like this, then I think that's the right time. And I think like we're super close and we could do it, but since there's no like real pressure on us, maybe we just hold off for now and make a decision in the middle of the week on Wednesday, as you said. In the meantime, we can test. You can test it in the next 2 or 3 days.
Any other thoughts? How big is our pressure? It says final MVP passed you by 6 days, and before it was October, and before that it was August. But you know, that's what always. That's why I hate when people say, "Oh, basically, I've been at hackathons. Like we can code this." And I don't know, like let's say 2 days, let's say 4 days. Okay, 4 days, and then it becomes half a year, and it's great. It looks awesome. It has gone through many iterations already. I just wanted to mention this. I don't think we are in a rush, but please, like anybody else.
I think our pressure is mostly self-imposed, and like we've definitely been working as if we're on a deadline, and we've definitely got results as a result of that, right? But I guess we don't want to put something out there that we're not confident is, we don't want to get caught with our pants down, basically. We get one chance for first impressions, that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know, like, I mean, maybe in the community call we'll talk about it and get a clearer picture on what our launch strategy is, like where's marketing team at with that, etc. Because ultimately what we're talking about now as going live is probably going to be quite a silent launch, right? It's like the process of putting it up there. Yeah, I mean, like like as I've said before, like it's probably good for us to practice the process of moving things live anyway. But that's not something we necessarily need to do to Giveth.io. Do you know what I mean? I think like the move to Giveth.io is, yeah, I'm not in a huge hurry to do that right now. But
there's really a campaign I want to open. Also, like please consider our personal meeting.
Yeah, man.
I'm just waiting for it.
We do have ETH Denver coming up this next week, and on Wednesday I'm going to be doing a talk on Giveth. Yeah, so it would be nice to be live by then.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. I think Danny's bringing up some good points, but we've also, there's a difference between, like, I guess, launch blocking bugs, especially soft launching bugs, and just UX improvements, basically. We're feature complete at this point, and it's really just like it's just squashing the bugs, and then definitely we can make sure that before we do the big announcement and stuff that we've ironed out a lot of these UX issues and stuff. But as soon as we soft launch and can start getting some projects on there, that's going to like really accelerate our ability to find out what the necessary UX things are that we need to improve. So I think everyone's bringing up some good points. I personally like the idea of like targeting Wednesday for launch and just like really focusing on the launch blockers between now and then.
Yeah, it's super great to have something to shoot for, right?
It is. It's helpful. And if you look at what's on Giveth.io right now, I would say like v2.giveth.io is as good, if not better, of an experience of a UX relative to Giveth.io right now. And we might, something to consider. I'm curious what you guys think about it, but maybe while we're in the soft launch stage, maybe we add a banner to the top of the website that explains like, hey, this is our soft launch period or something, like invest at your own risk or donate at your own risk or something like that. I don't know, but that could be nice so people know this is in progress.
Danny, you were saying that there's even an issue for this, right? That there should be an opportunity for everyone to agree that we go live. I mean, do you have an opinion on this?
I do, and I'm going to be the dissenter. I don't want it, like Willie, I would feel better if we had that banner you just said, but to me, more important than saying donate at your own risk is saying this is our very minimum product right now, and we need your support and feedback to implement the features that will come out in subsequent releases, and obviously in a simpler way. But I really want people to know, because when we reach out to all of our past Giveth people, and even the conversations we have about Giveth, about that holding it in escrow and the milestones, like so much of what's known for Giveth 1 is not in Giveth 2. And I feel like that needs to be addressed in some way. Otherwise, it's going to be very confusing. And I don't want to confuse people. I want to be really clear.
Yeah, that's a great point. We should definitely have some good content about that in the FAQ. On that note, I think a big part of our messaging and the narrative around like this Giveth 2 launch is kind of exactly like you said, is that with Giveth 2, like with Giveth 1, we built a bunch of really cool functionality. All that is still live. But what we realized is that, basically Giveth 2, we've started with a very simple foundation. And it's honestly, it's like about as simple as it could possibly get for peer-to-peer giving. Then the goal here is for the development going forward to be driven by the community and for the community to own it. And instead of us trying to say, here's what the future of giving looks like, what we built is a foundation, an open source community-driven foundation where the community can help decide what are the right features, and our users can help decide and donors can help decide. And yeah, this is truly a community-owned platform. So we wanted to get this foundation out there ASAP. This is the minimum viable product, and going forward, we want to hear from the community and from our users on what they think the future of giving should look like. Oh, Danny, I think you're muted. I hear your lips moving there. I see them.
Yeah, I mean, the future of giving is being built by you. You are part of this. I also just realized I'm going to pop in another issue. I really think on the homepage, we need to have something somewhere that says, are you looking for Giveth 1 or are you looking for, and have a button that takes you to beta.
I mean, maybe we should stop thinking about it as Giveth 1 and Giveth 2, right? Because the functionality is quite different. And now with MetaMask on Giveth 2, like we really open up the door to connecting the two dApps, right? Like we could now begin to think about like, all right, importing Giveth 1 projects, this kind of thing. I don't know, I need to think it through, but I'm just proposing like 1 and 2 is maybe not, we're not comparing apples and apples here.
Well, how about we call it Giveth Pro?
Giveth what?
Or Giveth Pro.
I know, like OG Giveth.
Like Coinbase and Coinbase
I agree
Pro.
completely that 1 and 2. That's a great idea. Like the old version is Pro, like beta. I just know it's still going to be there. It's still live. It still has users. I'm going to keep using it for the projects that I have on it because I need the milestone functionality and other stuff. That's what I'm selling people on. So there's got to be a way to clearly state that we have the two products available.
Cool, let's address that.
It's definitely a marketing and branding thing that should get taken to that conversation.
I really think that in the end, oh, hi guys, sorry for being late. I really think that in the end, the Giveth 1 is like the complicated back end that is used by the projects, but Giveth 2 is the donor portal, and it's like easy to donate, has all the options, and is the starter, right? First, just raise money, the old-fashioned way. They give you money, no accountability. Oh, you want to tell your donors that you're being extra accountable and you have traceable donations and all this other stuff? Come to the next level, at least for the next, few months to a year. That seems like the right path. And then hopefully we'll have all this user testing and user data to understand what people really want out of that. And we rebuild it without the technical debt.
Well, you just missed the part where I guess you missed the part where I said we should rename it Giveth Pro. And
nice.
Yeah, and you also missed the part where a MetaMask login works and donations with MetaMask work, and so nobody is like, even now you would need to manually duplicate your campaign, but there is no reason why you should not be able to have it on both right now. It's already working. If you're a pro.
I mean, potentially it might not be complicated if someone logs in with MetaMask to like check to get the project, like, or the campaign addresses, like say, oh, we found these campaign addresses for you in Giveth 1. Do you want to import these or something like this? Or we just automatically do that somehow, right? Like we could also do a bulk import or something like this. Yeah, something like that. We could ask them if they add it to the portal. Is what I mean, basically.
The MetaMask function within the MetaMask browser on OS doesn't actually work. It doesn't let you sign in.
Oh, don't use MetaMask on mobile, man.
Don't use it on Okay.
I don't know. So that's a quick disclaimer. It's a bit off topic, but I just heard like were exploits for mobile. I didn't deep research it, but just stopped using MetaMask on mobile.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that might be why it's, you know, like it's also I tested it with other stuff and it did not always work. There's only a few minutes left, so we mostly had discussions, and we probably should open the issues for the things we discussed. I opened. Oh yeah, we have a duplicate. Willie, that's cool. Oh no, you just expanded, no? On my issue. All right, let me show you. All right. So, oh yeah, there you are. I will try as well. If I still have it installed, I think I deleted it. Yeah, so that's what I said with the donate button to have a better flow there. Then there is a duplicate issue, add banners to top. You have until Wednesday. Yeah, Willie, do you want to spend a few words on like your plan? Because I think that sounded very interesting, and you didn't like. Are you positive you want it on Giveth.io when presenting it? Do you think that's very important? So people could open campaigns right away, or projects right away?
You talking about plans for the ETH Denver talk?
Because it's not very soft launchy, I guess, to just say, hey, you know, that's like, it's live, guys, come and break it.
Right, that's not really a soft launch. Yeah, no, I was just thinking, as far as plans go, I think I'm still figuring that out, but kind of just want to definitely want to highlight Giveth too, and tell people about what we've been building the past year and why we've been building it, and give them a quick little demo of it, and then talk about kind of the plans going forward. And would definitely like to make it clear that this is a soft launch. I think it would be cool to say, hey, we just soft launched this today, if we can have it up there by then. If not, then it doesn't really impact it too much. I think we could still just show people what's on staging or v2.giveth.io.
When is it?
If you're a pro, you can use v2 and just open a campaign, and it just works. And when it's launched, you can just create that campaign again, and it's just, maybe your donations look a bit funky, but I don't know. See, that's the crazy thing about this, because your wallets are always the same. It's pretty much can start right away.
When scroll down on this page a little bit. So this is good. I like that Danny has a doc together just for optimizing copy. I think this is solid. So this is just some content edits. We don't have to go through each of these, but Danny, thank you for putting this together and starting the process of being really thoughtful about all this different copy. I wanted to show a screenshot on that GitHub issue of potential copy update for the home page. On the GitHub issue, Kai, that we were just on. Just some different copy for the homepage. Right now it's the sustainable fundraising for social impact, and there's this kind of a blurb about our mission. I was thinking putting the copy more speaking to the user, and making it a little bit more actionable, as opposed to kind of explaining what Giveth is. Just a suggestion, open to other ideas for this, for the homepage copy, but I think it's important that we get some clear copy there. I think a lot of that hero copy is important for us to nail.
I think it's really nice if we start attacking this and have a tight deadline. Thank you, guys.
I've actually been putting a lot of effort and work into that, and getting feedback from other people not just here in Costa Rica, but also UX designer feedback is what prompted me to create this. And I don't know exactly what all we want to be able to say yet about the upcoming token thing, but I do think that dropping in the meme in the language around regenerative giving right now plants the seeds for that going forward without having to go into the details too much.
So yeah, I like Kai's comment. Let's see what we can get, what copy updates we can make by Wednesday, and then even after Wednesday, once we're live, we can continue optimizing this copy. And yeah, definitely great to get user feedback on this and see if it makes sense.
The thing about like I don't know why UX designers always start like we had one I don't know if anybody remembers that old review, but it kind of like started the same. And I do think that usually you land on it. I mean, so it's not good if you don't know where you are, if you just found an open browser. But usually we visit sites because we actually want to go there on purpose. So that's one thing I would like give as a caveat. But it's for sure cool to look at this. You're great. And I wanted to ask if you guys want to make changes to the code, or I should put all of this in Contentful as well. The landing page texts. There will be many blocks.
I think Contentful would be nice. I think I was just making copy changes in the console using inspect element, and what I noticed was that sometimes you need to change some of the CSS and stuff, like the min width of the box and everything. Otherwise, you'll end up with some weird formatting. So, but also, yeah, I don't necessarily want to make GitHub issues for every copy change that we do.
Yeah, then I'll add it to Contentful because we are very safe then.
Awesome. So before, I know we got community call coming up here. Sounds like the plan is to continue testing. We need to do some heavy testing now that staging's updated, and figure out if there are any issues that would be blockers. Or find any bugs, create issues for everything, but also be really strict about what's an actual blocker and what can be in the fast follow category. Are there any other known blockers to launch that we should just basically mark in that, put in a milestone?
Not that I can think of. Matteo, we were going to talk about the Fiat onboarding in this call. Is there some open questions about this? I know it's not a blocker, but I can't think of any really to answer your question. I think in general, I expect there to be some bugs, but we want to put the speed bump in place to make sure someone has filled out their profile before they can add a project. There's the copy changes. Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
Cool. Yeah, I guess we should look into this MetaMask can't sign in, make sure that works. There's also an interesting, if you guys try to sign in with MetaMask, you see the warning it gives you where it's like, be careful signing this message.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, I put a post in Dev about this because I was on BYDX earlier, and they have a really nice message that comes up there. I can't remember what it is. So I think there's many different ways of signing messages, and I think we will improve that. I think I agree it's super ugly.
Cool. And then Matteo, are you already working on or do you already have an issue for the plan we talked about at the beginning of the call to default to MetaMask if the user has it, or show them the options if not, or show them the options if the user has it, default to Taurus if they don't have MetaMask?
There wasn't very much clarity yesterday that I was talking with James, but right now I am sure what to do. So yeah, I will do it. yeah, it's really easy. So I'll focus on that and all the profile verification flow that is not done yet. So if you are going to create a project, you have to at least have a name and a profile picture.
Awesome. So yeah, and I guess everything else, it's up to the testers to find any other issues that we think should be a blocker for soft launch. Otherwise, the plan is to go live.
All of the UX UI design that we have to put just as the pop-up in the top saying that this is soft launch or somewhere to link to beta and all of that. Maybe that's important as well.
Yes, that's a great one. So hopefully, yeah, let's request help from Marco on that one ASAP.
All right, awesome. We're at the full hour. I think we can slide over to the community meeting if the plan is still to have it here. Ding.
I think we are still doing it in here. One more thing, and I think you guys have probably already thought about this, but do we already have the plan for what needs to happen to actually go live and put update Giveth.io to be Giveth 2?
I'm sure Kaya's got a plan and a list. Right?
When is Willie the Denver talk? What date it is?
It's Wednesday at 9:20 a.m. Mountain Time. And yeah, I'll post it in there in case anyone else wants to join. I think it's gonna be pretty casual and it's virtual, so I don't expect there to be a ton of people there. So hopefully it can be pretty personal conversation. And might even get some new team members out of it. I think that should be a call to action for anyone who's interested in joining this awesome community we're building.
Nice. Hey, sorry, I was distracted by writing this issue for a second, and you mentioned me.
Yeah, but do you have a plan in place, Kai, for how we're gonna go live on soft launch day?
Well, yeah, we just I put it in the server settings already, so we just switched the domain on the deployment. Actually, we built from the same branch and just to the main domain instead of a subdomain. I think that should be it, but we should do it 24 hours in advance and still test it and maybe create a project.
Awesome. Yeah,
I know I will.
Glad you got a plan in place.
All right. What is the community meeting? I think Forrest she was here, but got kicked.
Hey everyone, so sorry I got kicked off for a second. Can you guys hear me now?
So we can hear you.
Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen for the community call so we can switch on over to that agenda. All right. Okay, so yeah, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are around the world. I'd love for us to just start with our typical check-ins, sharing an update, anything you'd like to see added to the agenda, bullets below, or just any quick updates you feel called to share, intentions for this call, and any distractions going on preventing you from being fully present with us. And once you've shared, please pass the mic to someone else when you're done, and I will capture notes. Who would like to get started?
I can go first. It's been a productive week in development for the Giveth 2 dApp. We are pretty much like at a point with like feature completeness that I'm personally like satisfied with. In that like we've just integrated MetaMask, and so hopefully from now on the changes that we're making to the dApp are less structural and more just bug fixing and things like this. So yeah, it's totally ready to be tested now, and that's really exciting. My intentions are just to share and discuss what we need to figure out, and I'm not distracted. I'm gonna pass it to Amin.
Hi. I hope all you be, I wish you all be happy and well. We have a productive week also in Giveth 1. We have fixed issues on the front end about refreshing the forms, and fixed some issue in the bridge. There was a bug that we had lost some usernames in the Giveth 1. It was related to community stack application and our application. It's fixed. We have done some migration. On the DevOps side, we migrated to GitHub Actions and moved to we want to leave the Circle CI, and yeah, and there are just few of them. And I'm here to sync up with all of you. Yeah, I'm not distracted. I pass it to Danny.
Okay, briefly distracted by my glasses being dirty. It has also been a productive week from a user experience. I've done some demonstrations and got feedback, and then also lots of focus on the marketing side of things and tightening up what we need to have ready for announcements and communication on the public launch timeline. So that's my intentions, is to get some focus on that roadmap and strategy of what needs to be in place for the soft launch versus the public launch. No other distractions, and I will pass it to Kai.
Hey. Yeah. Cool week. I really like the progress that was done. Yeah, I was just doing like a few small fixes that I talk about during the dev meetings. What else? There is, I did the backup stuff. So I looked into the backup stuff for the database, so that also looks very good. Thank you, James. Still sitting at the automatic backup, but we should have it by launch. Yeah, looked over our deployments and made sure it's a nice and easy ride to go live, and I hope I hope that proves true. Yeah, I'm right now not distracted, but I guess I might be distracted at any point. And yeah, intention is to see what's up with the community. And I give it to Ashley.
Hi, everybody. I don't know that I have too many updates to share with anybody. Just kind of wanted to sync up. That's my intention, see where everybody's at and how we move forward. Excited that testing is back on and we can continue to move forward. Not really distracted. And I'll pass it to Griff.
Sorry, thank you. Yeah, I'm distracted because I jumped in to take notes. I think we might have lost Forrest or something. And I wrote all my notes down at the bottom, and they're not on the screen. Let me see. Too many tabs. Okay, big updates are basically working with Edu a lot on the DAppNode token model with the vesting and liquidity mining. And really, I think the best move for us is probably to join forces, you know, and give them support while also just whoever launches first kind of gets the credit of launching first. And then whoever launches second gets the benefit of doing it better than the other team did. So I see it as a big win for both teams, and I'm trying to make sure that we can make it work for everybody. My intentions, though, are mostly to talk about the only topic I love to get into is the branding for Giveth 2. You know, if it's going on Giveth, it probably shouldn't be called Giveth 2. It's just Giveth, right? And the Giveth Pro idea that Kai said, I'd love to hear more about that. And then distractions, I'm in a bath, finishing the sauerkraut, and have some mangoes in front of me. So, and with that, I'll pass it to Willie.
Thanks, Griff. What's up, everybody? Updates this past week. Did some work on the token model as well, and got to see the amazing work that Griff and Edu did together. Excited to give the update there. Yesterday was spending a lot of time on some of the blockers, especially seeing all the progress that Edu has made. It's a priority issue for us to finalize that list of all the airdrop recipients. So making sure that we have the full list of everyone who's donated to Giveth, as well as the list of all of us, the current contributors, the past contributors. So we've got some action items there, but that's a big priority because basically Edu has the contract ready to go and even deployed a test token this past week on XDAI, and just did an amazing job. He basically, we're far ahead of where we thought we would be at this point, at least on the smart contract side. So just trying to catch up and make sure that we are not the bottleneck there. So it's a productive week on that front. Also, yeah, the intentions is to sync up, talk about the plans for soft launch this week and the remaining blockers on that front. And then distractions, not distracted, feeling very focused today. And I will pass it to, let's see, Mateo.
Hey guys, happy Sunday everyone. Following what James was saying, it was really productive over the development on Giveth 2. So feeling really happy with what we have and excited about what we are going to build for MVP release. So that's my update. Intention is to sync up with everyone and see what comes up from this. I'm also interested in seeing what's going to be for branding and marketing before and of course for MVP. And distracted is I had to come back for my old apartment from my parents' house, so I'm really distracted moving things around in here. So maybe I'm like seeing stuff in here while listening to you. So that's it. I'm not sure who's missing. Lauren, are you next?
Yeah, that sounds great. Hi everybody. updates. Well, I'm really looking forward to spending some time doing some testing today for Giveth 2. Last week, for marketing, I like briefly touched base with somebody who just came to our Costa Rican team community named Calvin, who's like an awesome video editor guy, and he was talking about how he could totally make us like a cool snappy jingle video. So I guess like part of my intentions for the call are kind of like seeing like what we really need to push for marketing, and yeah, like what I can contribute to and add to there. And yeah, I'm not distracted. I'm here. I'm just like listening quietly. I'll pass it to Tommy.
Thanks, Lauren. Hey guys, good morning. Whatever time of day it is for you. I'm not distracted today. I am been doing some user testing, excited to do some more. Intentions for this call are mostly to move forward with the marketing plan and see how we can continue to plug into that. And I believe that's mostly it. I think that everyone else is gone. Is Mitch in here?
I see an M, but also Forrest hasn't gone yet.
Okay, well, I will pass back to Forrest then.
Thank you. So for me, my intentions are for us to get through the key points on our agenda so we can have an efficient call. Updates, yeah, just echoing the progress that we made around marketing strategy and, you know, like how we want our branding and our marketing to look around the Giveth 2 launch. Another intention is to get that critical path even more homed in on. And my distractions are that my computer, as I'm sure you could tell, I know Griff pointed it out, is really slow today for some reason. I'm like going through and closing tabs, but hopefully I'll be able to take good notes while facilitating this call. Okay, path for marketing and slow computer. All right, so digging in, and just want to give one more moment if there was anyone on the call that hasn't yet shared their updates, intentions, and distractions.
Hey, there's a Maxim.
Hey guys, super stoked to be here. Quick gratefulness when I throw that ahead. Epic to see my phone ringing every 12.5 seconds with GitHub issues. You guys are fucking rocking it, and I'm so grateful and proud of you all. And then updates. We're doing a lot of like mock-ups for Giveth that I think are pretty sweet, and I'd love to share after next week. We have another little design sprint the coming week, and then after that, maybe present that because I think there's a lot of good content that might be applicable for Giveth as well, from user experience, etc. Blah blah blah. And then what is it? Updates, intentions. I would love to hear more about the token engineering. I hear that is moving forward massively, and I don't know if I can plug in somewhere, even silent spectator listen. And because I mean I'm not that deeply engaged in it, but I'd love to learn more. Really would love to learn more. I think it's such an epic procedure. And distractions, the crickets in the background that you might hear, they're flipping overwhelming right now. Love you.
Thank you, Maxim. Is there anyone else? Okay. So scrolling on down and starting our agenda on the Giveth Reputation DAO, just some quick updates to the proposals. The proposal number 7 on Give token issuance passed. I think it was at 100%. So yay, flying colors. I just left this bulletin from last time. Has Marco's wallet change proposal come through? Or is that something that still needs to be added to Aragon?
Haven't seen it come through yet. Do we know which address he wants to move to? I guess not. we know how to do it now, and we've done it successfully with Kai. So as soon as we get that address from Marco, we can create it. Let's try and do it, I guess, at the same time. We have a proposal that's coming up for the January budget allocation. Ideally, we'll do it at the same time so everyone can go in and vote on both.
I do think he said never mind in the end, so can keep it on it.
All right, we'll check it off the list then.
Okay. And just a friendly reminder from last week also that there's the DAO channel on Discord where these sort of things and proposals can be discussed initially before actually creating a official proposal for us to vote on. And your feed forward is always welcome, even if you're not yet an RGive holder yet. Fundraising section, Danny, has anything since our last call been clarified or resolved around the tax deduction payment routing? If you are speaking, we can't hear you. I think you might be on mute.
Yeah, I'm back. So the update that I have around this is more to the fact that we've been paying Mateo's invoices monthly out of the funds that were initially distributed to the DAF. We're supposed to maintain a $5,000 balance there. We currently have like a $300 balance there. Let's see, so we need to, this has triggered me to think about a question that I think James brought up around strategic partnerships. So who are some people in the space that we're already talking to that might be willing to make a contribution? It would be really helpful if that went right into the DAF so that we can top up our balance properly and get keep the payments coming out of there. Right now, what I know I can do is, and I'm doing this right now, so I'm taking part of my last month's reward, and I'm donating it to the DAF. And then from the DAF, it's going to go into a milestone to be distributed out. So that's the easy pathway right now, is to donate it to the DAF and then give the DAF instructions to distribute that into the milestone. So that's the pathway I'm testing out right now. We'd love the thing I'd like to get done, which I just haven't put focus into because I've been more on the other launch side and marketing and branding train of thought. But how can we give SDG impact purview over wallets in Giveth 1 so that a donor, when they donate to a milestone, and that's going into our bridge contract, if they have their name on that in some way, then that makes it tax deductible. So I don't know how to solve that, but that's the ideal route, is if they have a relationship with that wallet, then it makes donations directly to Giveth tax deductible. And then the other update is that the button is live now on the SDG Impact Fund site. So people who want to donate anything, crypto or fiat, if you want to donate fiat, you can go straight to the SDG Impact site and to the Giveth and hit donate and contribute money, get your tax deduction. And then we can tell Brian which campaigns, milestones, whatever, to put that into. What is not there yet is the ETH address. So I've asked Brian, how can we make a simple donate crypto on that?
Awesome updates, Danny. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not that we need the ETH address. We have an ETH address. We need the ETH address linked on the SDG Impact donate page for Giveth.
Awesome. Thanks for clarifying. Any questions from anyone around, SDG Impact and some of these financial updates?
Well, I'm still happy to play sugar daddy until we have things sorted, always. So just hold my hand and tell me there's a problem, and let's play the game.
You're too generous, Griff. I think I'm excited to get you out of that role so that you no longer have to play sugar daddy, but I know we all appreciate it in the meantime.
Of course. I mean, in a dream world, I could just be sugar daddy to a DAO, and our governance could play the rest. But you know, we're going to create a token, so everything is cool by me.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely keeping track of. We should be keeping track of all these donations for when we do the token distribution.
Speaking of the token, our token initial distribution and issuance model was approved. Just some updates on the Give token. Maxim, I know you'll be excited to hear about our updates. So last week, Griff and Willie hacked on remaining blockers and issue prioritization. We made incredible progress and deployed a test token on XDAI that features a token contract, a vesting contract, an airdrop contract, and liquidity mining on HoneySwap. We're planning to begin our first sprint with our Deb Gabby, as well as our Costa Rica crew supporting non-technical issues mid this coming week. Some of the next steps that we've got on the books are a time block tonight for Griff to hack on staking for projects. Willie and I are going to sync on Sprint 1 planning before we begin that this week. Our priority issue is to finalize the list of airdrop recipients and amounts, as well as, the token staking for project curation, which will get worked on tonight. Any questions or any other, mentions around the Give token?
Can I somehow chime in there with the call with Griff, even if I'm just a silent spectator?
Yeah, I mean, maybe once things are just, for the most part, it's like just Edu and I hanging out on a call looking at spreadsheets that wouldn't make any sense to anyone else.
Yeah.
However, we can, I mean, the dream is to clean it up and present it to you guys once we have some ideas. And I think that tonight maybe I can try to get more. I mean, you could definitely come in, next time. Like lately, because Edu is in Europe and my Europe hours are just slammed. It's kind of like impromptu when we meet. It's just like he's like, you can do something and tell her. But next time it happens, I would be happy to just send you a Telegram message, and you could try to come in. But in the end, I hope that we can make this somewhat presentable and not so opaque.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Griff. Just ping me, and I'll be ready to jump on board. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this last week I was really impressed. I think Forrest and I were in the process of trying to get ready for this very first sprint and trying to eliminate a lot of the blockers so that we could have someone like Edu and or Gabby start working on some of these contracts. And then I got a message from Griff, I think Friday, just Friday, that basically said, that showed me this actual token deployed on XDAI. And so Edu, we're way ahead of where I thought we would be at this point. Basically, Edu has a token contract ready to go. He also did this a vesting contract that covers both the airdrop and the liquidity mining. And Griff, correct me if I'm misunderstanding any of this, but basically he gave us a demo where we could add people to a list for the airdrop. So we could add an address and amount. Then people could actually go claim it. So we saw the whole demo of actually being able to claim the tokens that are unvested. And also, you could provide liquidity on HoneySwap and then start and stake those tokens to start earning more Give rewards. So it's really impressive to see all of that come together. And he also implemented, this is pretty cool, but one of the things that enabled him to implement this pretty quickly was this global vesting concept that he implemented. So this is interesting. So just to give a quick explainer about what this means is, so we've heard of the concept of vesting where tokens unlock. and a lot of projects, like I think the way Sushi Swap works right now, for instance, is that as soon as you earn new rewards, they start vesting from the moment you earn them. The difference between this global vesting concept is that there's just a global vesting schedule applied to all of the tokens, regardless of when you earn them. So what that means is, like, on day one, somebody who is earning liquidity mining rewards, they would immediately be able to claim, let's say, 10% of the rewards, and then the rest would unlock over 4 years. Whereas somebody who, like, starts liquidity mining in the 4th year, they would already on day one, like whenever they earn these liquidity mining rewards, they could withdraw the majority of it, and then they would just the final, like, 10 or 15% would then unlock in 2024. But what that means is that basically there's this global schedule applied to all of the tokens, where if you join later, more of the tokens are already unlocked on day one. Whereas if you earn these rewards earlier, then you have to still wait for the 4 years for everything to unlock. A little confusing, but like Griff said, we gotta now take some of these concepts and put it into a more presentable format.
Can I ask one question?
Go ahead.
What is the incentivization essentially of jumping on board then early, which I guess is wanted?
So the incentive there is that you don't necessarily have an even, for instance, for liquidity mining, maybe you give a heavier reward early, and so you earn more of the percentage of the global vesting supply, right? You earn more tokens later, but everyone is on the same team as far as a long-term perspective, right? That it's on everybody who earns tokens in an equal weight to continue to evolve this protocol is the idea. So you can just give more tokens early.
Cool.
It's really exciting to see how much progress has been made. Yeah, thank you so much for that update, Willie. Any other questions or comments from the community?
I actually have a question, which kind of a question for Griff. So are we still planning to start working with Gabby this next week? And if so, what should be Gabby's main focus?
Absolutely. I think the main focus should be the project staking, because that is not part of Edu's thing, and obviously working with Edu in a way to help us turn this stuff that he's working on into Giveth. I think those are the two big pieces. It would be really nice to have his brain on stuff that Edu's working on. But as much as he can, but we don't have anyone working on the project staking, so we're gonna have to take that off.
Yeah. If you're done with that, I do have one other question that I'm hoping it's absolutely not an issue, but out of our marketing conversations, we have people who want to write some content. And I'm curious as to any restrictions or limitations we should be paying attention to about how we communicate and talk about an upcoming Giveth token distribution. Usually when I see airdrops come, they don't tell you it's coming in advance. So I'm wondering if there's some clear reasons for that or anything we need to be paying attention to about what we can or shouldn't talk about before we do the drop.
It's a really good question, I think, and I'm not a lawyer, so I don't really know the exact answer. But kind of the way I've been thinking about it is that one, as far as we should never ever say anything along that would make the Giveth token appear to be a security. And so the main things there is we should never say anything about. We should never basically talk about the price or give people reason to believe that the price might go up in the future. That's one of the big no-nos, obviously. So we shouldn't say anything around that. As far as airdropping goes and mentioning that, I think what we may need to do, it's a good point, is we may need to just basically pick a date and say, only donors and stuff before this date, and that's probably would be the date, I guess, when we started talking about airdropping. And I'm not even sure if we need to do that, but it's probably safer to do it that way. But yeah, I think also we're all this stuff is transparent. So we record these calls, we put these calls out there and everything like that. And I'm not sure if that helps or hurts us, but I like to think that it helps us because it's not like we're keeping this information in closed doors. And because of that, there's not really much of an opportunity for quote unquote insider trading because it's all transparent and out there and it's all public. Anyone who's watching and stuff can get this information. And so because of that, I do think we can start writing content about our plans here. But curious if anyone else has any other understanding, thoughts.
As long as I think we can talk about it if we want to. There is some benefit in the rumor, but basically the day we start talking about it is the day that we stop the rewards for donating, right? So, because otherwise it's not authentic. So that's the big thing. Like, hey, the people who are around that see that they can get rewarded for donating now, more power to them. But the second we write a blog post about it, that should be yesterday. Yesterday was the day that we do the initial, it was the last time that donors could receive benefits or whatever. So that's my thoughts on it, but it's a marketing decision, I would say.
Yeah, picking that date was something that I realized was really important because we have separate line items for old donors and new donors. So knowing what that date is going to be, that's going to be important for that tracking.
What do you guys think about the language that a lot of projects use that basically say give tokens have no value and shouldn't be expected to have value or anything like that? Should we just include that same language? That seems like it's kind of becoming boilerplate for new projects.
Definitely, when we mention it, absolutely. And in an ideal world, if we have a use case besides liquidity mining, whether it's governance or project curation that launches with the token, that will help us a lot too.
Right. So if we are talking about a strategy that says give with Giveth and you get more to give, it needs to be really clear that it's just that token and that staking that means more for the project, not for you. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just saying that because that's what I think I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can say give with Giveth and get give. That's all factually correct. But yeah, what we shouldn't say is give with Giveth and get tokens of value or something, or get money, something like that, right? But what they are getting, and I guess this won't necessarily be live on day one, but they're getting ownership of the governance. They're getting a stake in the governance of Giveth, and like you said, they're getting ideally on day one, they're getting tokens they can use to vote for the project that they're giving to, or to help curate the projects that are eligible for the decentralized tax deductions. So yeah,
Amazing.
thank you. Thanks everyone for the thoughts on this. Agree, Griff, that it makes a lot of sense to ask Gabby to mainly focus on project staking, but also support Edu. And then yeah, soon I think we're making such good progress here that one of the big priorities coming up for once we get this MVP out is going to be to start building the front end in Giveth for some of these things, like claiming the tokens and staking tokens for liquidity mining, the project staking, all that stuff. And then pretty soon, I mean, we're getting close to being able to launch this, actually, much closer than I thought we'd be this soon. And yeah, a big part of, so we need to finalize the list of airdrop recipients and amounts. A big part of this too, that's kind of tricky, that I hope we can work on this week, and that anyone's welcome to come contribute to, is figuring out what this algorithm looks like. So how do we divide the tokens in each of these buckets that we've agreed on? across the the recipients in that bucket. So that includes donors, like donors to projects on Giveth, donors to Giveth, and then also contributors, people like us who have been working on Giveth. How do we decide how to take these big buckets and allocate it across the groups? We've started hacking on some of that, but that finalizing that is a big priority for this next week. And anyone who's interested in collaborating on that is welcome to and encouraged.
Beautiful. And I've captured a lot of the notes here around our priorities, as well as things that the marketing team should consider around languaging for the content. And I know marketing's a big section for us in a lot of ways with this, as well as the Giveth 2 launch. So we'll touch on that a bit later. But yeah, Willie and Griff, thank you so much for these updates. Anyone have any final questions or comments before we move on to DApp updates?
James, did you want to, is this the right place? Did you want to say anything about your question around Block Native and how we might want to partner with them? Or is that maybe I'm in the wrong part of the agenda for that? Yeah, sorry, that's probably marketing strategy.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we've got a whole section for marketing under the launch. No worries. So DApp updates, issues, and requests. Giveth 1, I'm curious, what is the latest status on the whole process, which I imagine is time consuming, of reaching out to the Giveth 1 projects and encouraging them to create projects in Giveth 2?
Sorry, I didn't get the point about the encouraging people to use too. What?
I'm wondering what an update or status is of, I think maybe it was someone from the Costa Rica team, maybe it was Ashley, I'm not sure, who was beginning the process of reaching out to our Giveth 1 projects and communicating with them about creating projects on Giveth 2.
I think the only step we're doing right now is collecting the contact information. I didn't think we were going to reach out and contact people until we have a soft launch and something for folks to actually look at.
Yeah, I hadn't actually contacted anybody, and I think the list is most important to get all that information together, because at the same time that we're contacting them about making projects on Giveth 2, we can also be contacting them about maybe they want to be a launch partner, or maybe, like there was other cross communication that could happen with those past projects. And so we've just been organizing the information for when it's time to contact them.
Awesome. And what are some other updates around Giveth 1?
Recently, we have implemented the updating all the financial donating, delegating, collecting the status of the milestones. So whenever you can see all the updates in the milestone in the status column. It includes the donate and delegate. We have migrated our backend, deploy CI/CD to the GitHub action. It's a new update. We have fixes important issues in UX1, UI, fixed issues related to error pop-ups, unwanted error pop-ups, refreshing forms. Fixed issues about fetching rates. We fixed a bug in the bridge. It's a design. It was a design problem that user information was cleared if they use a specific method for donating the smart contract. We patched the bridge to fetch the user info and do not create duplicate users in the smart contract. It was time consuming, but it's fixed. And yeah, these are the major updates in my mind.
Awesome. Good work, team. And And for Giveth 2, I just from listening in on the dev call before the community call, it sounds like a general recap is that the team is happy with the core functionality right now. It's important to continue testing. And there was discussion around perhaps being ready for a launch in about a week. But Danny, I want to give this as an opportunity for you to have the discussion around the landing page UX. I know you mentioned you spoke with a user experience designer in the last few days and got some feed forward on our staging site or on our site.
Yeah, I don't want to dive too deep into it now, but I do have a GitHub issue about, and Willie also was thinking the same thing this morning, that our, I guess it's called the hero statement can be better. I don't feel that when we land on the landing page for Giveth 2 right now, that it has any feeling for being donor centric or donor owned. And I think that's a really important change that we need to make. I think the feedback I got from a UX person, and I do realize it's just a new person who doesn't have context, and we're expecting that people who come to Giveth know something about Giveth in advance. But I do think that when people land on that page, we can be much more clear about whether you're there to view projects, view existing projects and donate to them, or create a new project, because that is not readily clear. And as she shared that with me, it helped me identify some resistance that I wasn't clear on yet. And I don't think it needs to take a long time. And I do think I need to talk to Marco about it.
Okay, any questions from the team or the community about the landing page design? Awesome. And are there any other updates that we would like to discuss around Giveth 2?
I mean, generally speaking, there was some kind of agreement to try to get this live by Wednesday for Willie's presentation at Denver, I believe. So it's ready to test right now, and you're encouraged to do so. That would be wonderful. And yeah, I mean, hopefully all goes well, and we can do a quiet launch or some kind of a launch on Wednesday. I don't know if that's something we need to discuss, but I like that idea, and I think if we're ready for that and no one's really protesting against that too strongly, that would be something nice to aim for.
And if there's anybody who's going to protest strongly, just so you know, it would be me. And I'll know more about that after I talk to Marco.
Cool.
And that's not Wednesday next week, but the Wednesday after. So 10 days.
Really?
I totally thought it was this week.
No,
Really?
You're probably right.
it's the 10th and 11th.
Well, let's make that happen then. That's 4 days before Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I wasn't clear when we were chatting in the Telegram.
Yeah, it's all good. That's actually good news. Gives me some more time to prepare. And I mean, I think, you know, if we're ready to go by this Wednesday, I think we can still push for it. Getting it up ahead of time.
It would be really nice to get some projects up there.
Exactly.
And the second, I guess that's my question for Giveth 2. Did you guys end up updating the website, the database, so that if you make a project on V2, it's going to stay, or is that not ready yet?
At this point, I believe the latest version of our code is not on V2 yet. Kai, maybe you want to correct me if I'm wrong on that. But generally speaking, we, at this point, would like staging database to also be stable, that we can add data into the staging database and it's not getting wiped anymore. So Kai, I don't know, what's the state of V2?
Yeah, I have this pull request open and I just have to, I can't commit it right now. You know, like development is so fast, it's kind of hard to keep it updated, you know. But I wanted to merge this now and see the latest changes until Tuesday, I guess, and then merge again.
Well, the second you guys have it up, give me a heads up so I can make some common stack, DApp node, all the fun, projects that I have on Giveth 1. I'd love to make some copies for them up there. And all the projects I have on Gitcoin as well.
Yeah, like I said in the first, once we're really ready, you can simply tell people to, hey, if you use the same wallet that you use forever for the other one, if that's possible, if it's MetaMask, then you can like use this, do it as it was the same project, but it needs manual duplication for now, of course.
And so just to clarify around that, like we need to use a different wallet and a different account for each project we create, right?
Correct. One address per project.
Right. So if there's any of those Gitcoin grant ones, Griff, that we can distribute out to the crew here, so each person maybe could have familiarity and responsibility for doing any of those, I'm sure people would be happy to do that.
Sorry, Danny, can you ask that question again? Like, it's one user per project, you said, is it?
It's one wallet per project, right? So
yeah, exactly.
So Griff was saying he wants to get the campaigns that were up on Gitcoin up, but if he does that himself, he has to do it with all of them with different wallets or different accounts even.
And all of my projects on Gitcoin, they all have their own unique address. So it's not hard, and they're all in my network.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's good to know. It's definitely worth noting.
Yeah, and you can do that all under one account. Yeah. So
what do you mean?
You have one Giveth account with many projects, and each project has got its own address, wallet address.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can specify a payout address in Giveth 1, so it can be different than your login.
Okay, so one login can create lots of projects. You just have to make sure you put in a unique wallet address as the recipient.
Yes, exactly. And that's quite clear. That's quite clear in the flow. It's hard to miss.
It's handled well. Agreed.
In fact, like you are not allowed to use the same wallet address for two projects at the moment.
Okay, awesome. So need to use a different wallet as the recipient for each project, but multiple projects can be created under one account. Any other questions or comments or updates around Giveth 2?
I am curious, while we have the whole community here, if we want to look at the landing page UX design.
Brilliant. So then DevOps, what updates do we have?
Only maintenance and backend stuff that's, I guess, correlated. And the plan to, until we go live, I also want to add, like our servers seem very stable, but we have a monitoring system, and I'll hook them up to the monitoring system. But that's in the future. It's not done yet. But I gave that update in the beginning so that there's nothing additional. That metagame bridge should really be there. I see that still in the notes.
Nice.
It's already completed. Is that what you're saying?
It's like metagame agreed already, so we should just do it.
Okay.
So Wooly said that we want to review the UX of the landing page, and I really want to hear more about, or like question what we call, how we brand the two different apps. So I don't know if we can do both of those, but that would be awesome.
Oh yeah, that's a good. Yeah, let's talk about that. On that note, one thing we discussed in the dev call was adding a banner to Giveth when we do the soft launch. That basically explains, we need to come up with a language, but explains like we're in soft launch mode right now, and I think Danny suggested also just making it clear, like somewhere in that banner, looking for Giveth 1, or not Giveth 1, but looking for the old Giveth or something, and we should talk about how we should phrase that. So yeah, any ideas for how we can brand Giveth and stop calling it Giveth 2? Because obviously that's not going to make sense to the world, but I know Kai had suggested Giveth and Giveth Pro.
I like that personally. And Giveth Pro is really just for projects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and our Pro is free. Most places charge you extra to go to the Pro version, so there's a nice little...
Because it's the other way around. It's not the application. Not only the application, it's you who is the pro. The user is the pro. That's the pro thing about it.
Right.
Yeah. In the end, it's like the charity is the pro. It's like, oh yeah, you're a superstar charity. You're giving insane accountability and traceability of all your donations. That's ridiculous. That's amazing. You're like next level charity. Congratulations.
Right.
Is there but maybe we can hear like quick negatives to Giveth, just Giveth 2 being just Giveth, and then Giveth 1 being Giveth Pro. Anybody got any negatives to that?
I have a concern that Pro may sound like it's somehow like better or something. I don't know. Like, I guess it has more features, right? Which is what Pro kind of says to me. So in that case, I expect it to mean that Pro has got everything that the standard version has already, but better, but more features. Do you know what I mean? So I think that there's scope for that to be somewhat confusing. It kind of insinuates like the same but more, when I feel like it's something very different. Obviously, like both in feature somewhat, but like certainly in the use of it. I wouldn't like someone to assume that because they're very familiar with the donation DApp and they like it very much and they're good at using it, that it's going to be a smooth transition for them to move up to the Pro thing or whatever. So that's some concern I have. I would nearly say it's a fairly strong concern, but I'm not going to argue it if no one else supports me on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think of Giveth, like we keep saying Giveth 2, and it is Giveth 2.0, but really it's a different DApp. And if there was some way to, like, it almost feels like Giveth Lite or the easy Giveth, I have the reverse concern that you were sharing, James, as well, where there would be an assumption that Giveth 2 has what Giveth 1 has and then adds even more features, whereas in reality, Giveth 2.0 is much less full featured than Giveth 1. So there's just an interesting dance there.
Yeah, so I think a solution to that, if it is a problem, maybe it's not, is that there's no concept of 1 and 2 or Pro and not Pro, but like it could be something like, very unelegant, donation DApp and, escrow milestone management DApp or something. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have any thoughts about that.
I have a strong preference for Giveth 2 just being Giveth. What we call Giveth 1, I don't know, but it's really confusing to say, oh, this is Giveth donations, and this is Giveth. It's like, no, this is Giveth. Here's Giveth, And now I like this, like the level up idea. Maybe Pro is for projects, or maybe it's like Giveth traceability and accountability, or something. Adding something that makes Giveth 1 feel like an upgrade, because in a lot of ways it is an upgrade. In a lot of ways it's a downgrade too, because the UX isn't as great and all these things. But it's like sort of the next level if you're a project, you're like, you want
Yeah.
to like really sell that, hey, I'm in it because of this, and here you can trace your funding. I don't know, but Giveth 2, we gotta get rid of the 2, I hope.
I agree with that completely. And then with Giveth 1, maybe it's not pro because that's confusing because of the previous experience that people have with it being pro, but it could be like expert or gold or something like that.
Cool, let's come up with something. And at the end of the day, pro is not the worst thing in the world either.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, who wants to take on that naming and then get buy-in?
I think that can come into our marketing meetings that we're having already to hash out content and launch strategy.
Great. And now we have 30 seconds left if Willie wanted to ask the questions on the landing page. I don't know if you have the space, Willie, but.
Yeah, well, maybe we can pull up that GitHub issue that Danny created. We could look at the. I have a proposal that maybe we can just get some quick either thumbs up on or thumbs down, but it's to update the hero copy. I can. If you need a link, I can link it in the chat right here. Let's see. So yeah, I'm open to other ideas too. So if anyone wants to suggest different copy, just posted a link. I can do a quick screen share too. But yeah, so right now on Giveth, we have sustainable fundraising for social impact. I was thinking of updating this to instead, welcome to the future of giving. Donate directly to social good projects with 0 added fees. Simple, we can keep evolving it and stuff, but I like that it's, when I land here as a user, it's a lot to read, first of all. So it's still not quite clear after reading this, like, what does this website do? Why am I on this website? I think I like focusing it on donors because we've talked about making this, like, if we can make this really clear for donors, then the projects will come. But I also think it's pretty clear, like, if you are a social good project, oh, here's where I can, accept donations without any extra added fees. That's cool. I don't love this copy, so I'm definitely open to better ideas for it, but I do think it's at least more clear and actionable than this copy. So I guess hoping, first of all, does anyone have any feedback or suggestions for alternative hero copy?
I just want to point out that the link that I put into that GitHub issue is back to that Giveth content staging, and there's been a lot of conversation around it in the comments in that document.
Yes, let's look here too. So there were some other suggestions here specifically for this hero copy. So
I like the future of giving meme personally. It's consistent with what we've always said before. We already have shirts that say that, so like it's a great meme.
I think the fact that we're really asking for user feedback now invites an invitation. Like the future of giving is being built by you, and with Giveth, your feedback helps us build that. Like engaging users in that building of the future of giving.
And are you saying you would like to have that expressed up here?
I think in the statement underneath it, like changing it to welcome to the future of giving is great and super short and punchy. And then the statement underneath it to add something around inclusivity, and we can hack on what that is, but letting people know that we're not building it for them, by them donating and participating and putting their projects and providing feedback, they're building it too.
And what you suggest, Danny, that could also go under the donate button. So it's like one clear subheadline, the call to action, and then there's like a further subheadline statement under the donate button. Because I think it's also interesting how it says donate, and this is clearly in this edited version, which I love. I think it's much more clear. But it is interesting that we're speaking to donors, and then it says donate, but then under it says start raising funds for your project. So in my opinion, there would almost be like two buttons, like here's the one for donors and here's the one speaking to charities or projects.
Yeah, that's some pretty strong UX feedback that I have, that I think two pathways do need to be there. Like once you arrive, build the future of giving, give to a project, or create a project. That needs to be two separate side by
It's
sides
just like
instead
when
of
you're on
under.
Airbnb, like, are you a host or are you looking for a stay? Like there's two clear options.
True, but if you go to Airbnb, I bet that they have the stay, like it's geared towards people who are trying to stay there. Then they have this like, oh, become a host as a secondary thing. And I think we're in a similar situation where like, we're gonna have fewer projects obviously than donors, and we really want to make the experience, the UX most intuitive and simple for the donors. Because we've talked about this, if we can get the donors, then the projects will come. And the projects, if you're here to raise funds, you'll have a little bit more flexibility and patience, I guess. Basically, like you'll look for the button like this and for this. Whereas the donors, like, we want to make it really clear when they land here, like, hey, if you're here to donate, you're in the right place.
I super agree with that. And we have two different places for somebody to create a project right now, but just one button that says donate and nothing. I mean, it says projects in small letters up there at the top, but it's not really clear that you can go view the projects to donate to, or that hitting that button donates directly to one thing.
So there's some UX improvement, and we should definitely keep our eyes peeled for that as we do the soft launch, and even before then, as we're testing, if we can, like Danny's doing, get it in front of some people. That's awesome feedback. Maybe, I know we're over time now, and I didn't mean to go this far over time. So also, I guess we can continue talking about it in this doc. We don't have to make any changes right now, but ideally, before we do the soft launch, I do want to see if we can come up with some better copy for this hero, and throughout the whole website. But specifically, I think making sure we have some really good copy here, I think, is a big priority for soft launch. We got this doc with some proposals in here. And so if you're interested in working on this, this is definitely a good opportunity for collaboration.
And I think, Forrest, the next steps on that are to get, when do we need to have the final decision made by on our critical path, and what meetings do we need to have and who before that? I think as much feedback as we can collect in that GitHub issue and on the doc right away would really help us with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Beautiful. I can definitely make sure that the GitHub issue gets pushed along with more comments, and that we're revisiting this in our marketing meeting, and that we're updating critical path. Okay, so being that we're a few minutes overboard, I think we will need to close, but I do just want to let everyone know that so if you are curious, you can take a look here at the MVP launch status, some updates, upcoming things to look for, and then also under marketing strategy and updates, there's a link to the call notes from both of our marketing brainstorms. In the second call notes, there's a critical path, which we're going to be like honing in on a bit more, and then creating GitHub issues for all of those to-dos. And yeah, we've got some good collaboration going with Bloom Network and with our team here at Giveth. And a third marketing call is early this week is getting scheduled, so be on the lookout for that in your calendars.
I just want to say, Tommy, I love what you just put in there, Giveth and Giveth more. That's milestone organizer. That's very creative. Thank you.
Cute. Awesome. Does anyone have any burning shares or like really strong closing remarks that they want to share before we drop?
No, but I'm not going to drop right away if any of the Costa Rica team wants to hang out with me for a minute.
Love the Costa Rica team, and of course, Giveth team. You guys are just killing it. Everyone's killing it right now. So, yeah, definitely we're on an amazing path. It's amazing how well things are coming together. So, yeah, great work, guys.
+1.
So glad to be here.
Yay!
Bye
It's a great
bye.
working with all of you.
Enjoy your
Thank
bathtub
you.
and mangoes, Griff.
We love you like